Hey everybody, LEDflashlightguide.com here. Just had an idea for the Mini CREE LED flashlights, the Q5, also known as the SK88 clone knockoff. I noticed some of the sellers have it listed as waterproof, and there's an O-ring around this housing inside there that protects the battery. It's kind of loose fitting in there though. Guess I should have pulled that off first. Anyway, out of focus. It seats right down in there. Anyway, these flashlights are so cheap. It's a $3 flashlight. I'm gonna drop it in this Nalgen. We're gonna see what happens. If that doesn't kill it, well, let's see what happens when we run over it with a car. Let's turn it on. We should do it. I did that right at the 1 minute mark here, so let's see what happens. Put the lid on. Let's give this thing a shake. Try to get some of the air bubbles. See if it can get some water inside that housing. It's doing alright so far. Looks like most of the bubbles are just actually air and not actually getting into that battery compartment right there. There's not much to this thing, so based on what I've seen, there's a couple threads. I'll put some links into the video description and on the blog post for this on LEDflashlightguide.com. There is somebody on Budget Torch forums, I think, tore one of these apart and really just literally like tore it down piece by piece, every little bit. There's really not much to them. I think it is going to come down to that O-ring that's inside there. It's still on. It's been in there for a minute and a half. I guess we're pretty good to go. I mean, if you drop this thing in water for more than 2 minutes, I'm assuming it's probably gone at that point. I imagine most people drop this. It's just for a second. Oh, sorry. Of course, my battery's dying. Well, I mean, it's still good to go. That is just, oh. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna die. I think it'll run out of battery before anything happens. I don't see any. I don't know how. Try to get that as in focus as I can. I don't see any air bubbles or anything around that O-ring area. It's just there's a few bubbles, but I don't think that's around the O-ring. Those are definitely, there's no O-rings in these areas. That's just metal. It's just bubbles forming on that like knurling. Interesting. There you go. $3 flashlight, LED, bright as hell, waterproof as shit apparently. Pretty neat. I'm gonna charge my camera and then let's run this thing over. All right, thanks. Go to LEDflashlightguide.com to see more. I'll put some links in the description of the video here. Subscribe, check out my website. Thank you. Okay, it sat in the water, submerged for about 15 minutes. I just dumped it out. You can see it's wet. I'm going to dry it off and then let's take a peek. It's dry in there. Other than obviously having water on it. Seemed to withstand it. Alright, let's do this. Dry it off. So I want to take that back want to take the battery compartment open and see what it looks like in there, because that's where all the O-ring is. Okay, so there is a little bit of water in there. Hopefully, yeah, you can see that. There is some water in there. I'm wondering if that got in there when I twisted it off, and maybe it was just sitting in the threads. Because if you look inside here, it's actually dry. So I'm wondering if it was just in the threads, and when I unscrewed it, it went in there. Or, well, that's a lot of water, actually. But it still works. Surprising. Let's see, let's try it off some more. See if we can fire it back up. Make sure everything's dry. Works. A little bit of water in there. Maybe there's another O-ring at the bottom of that. Let's see if I can get that in focus. Yep, no water. Awesome. That's pretty neat. So I'm thinking the water just got in there when I unscrewed it. Neat. Well, I guess it's time to drive over with a car. If that doesn't kill it, I don't know. Pretty indestructible. A little $3 flashlight then. Or even if you get the 3 mode or buy one of the nicer models for like, you know, 8, 10, 12 bucks, you still can't beat that. It's actually smoother action now. There might have just been some, because if you read a lot of reviews on this, everybody kind of complains about the action on this, that it's rather gritty. It's actually pretty smooth right now. I'm wondering if when they make these, they don't really like hit them with an air compressor or anything, and there's just like shavings stuck in there, so the water might wash some of that out. A little tight, tighter than it was. I bet if it dries out some more, you see it still's wet. If it air dries for a while, that might reduce. But I mean, it's metal on metal right there. There's not much you can do to make that smooth anyway. It's really just negligible anyhow. Alright, cool. Well, I would call it waterproof, definitely. Maybe I'll do an extended test and leave it in there for like a day or two and see how it fares. Well, thanks for watching my video. I'll make a separate video for when I roll over it with a car. Check out ledflashlightguide.com, subscribe to my channel, and let me know if you got any requests, reviews, questions, anything you'd like to see me review or do waterproof tests on. Comment, send me a link, let me know the model of the flashlight. I'll see if I can get my hands on it, see what I can do with it.